Hello, everybody. Dave Neal here, stand-up comic and host of Bachelor Nation News. And let me tell you something. What I love so much about this YouTube channel is that you guys afford me the chance to discuss varying social topics as they pertain to the Bachelor franchise. And one debate happening right now with the good people over at Reddit is wondering if it was an inappropriate display by the doctor, Dr. Kira, with her limo exit. As she entered the Bachelor show, she had a bikini on, or lingerie, what's the difference, right? On a little bit of lace, that's the difference, underneath her lab jacket there, her lab coat. And my personal view is that your profession should be completely separate from what you do on your personal time. And if you want to dance a certain way on TikTok or do something on your social media, it shouldn't affect your profession. Now, obviously, if you're a teacher, I mean, look, honestly, I truly believe we need to separate what people do for work and how they're on their personal time. But people offer some great opinions here, and I do want to share them. So let's first get to her Kira's Instagram here. By the way, she's a genius. Harvard, Wharton, UNC. So I'll read some of her credentials, and here's a clip from her limo exit.
Yes.
Oh boy.
Oh, she's in lingerie.
Okay, so she's a medic. So I'm a doctor, and I'm here to give you your full body physical.
This is what doctors wear nowadays?
Now he knows what he's gonna get. Why buy the cow if you're already getting the milk?
Yep.
Now, some people's concern, and I'll play your opinions in a second, some people's concern, it's not necessarily what she wore, but that she was cosplaying being a doctor. And of course, as we know, trigger warning, but there are several horrifying examples of doctors who used their profession as an excuse and a vehicle to commit atrocities. Larry Nassar, serving lifetime upon lifetime in prison for what he did, and also the cover-up by the people at Michigan. Was Michigan State University? Is that where it was? The cover-up that they did, there should be more people behind bars, but that's a different story for a different day. So here's some info we know about Kira. With beauty, brains, and spunk, it's not hard to see why Kira made some of the other women at Bachelor Mansion jealous. But why buy the cow if you're already getting the milk, quipped one of her fellow contestants regarding Kira's revealing outfit, which is kind of slut-shamey, right? It probably didn't help that some of the women even spied Kira sharing a smooch session with Clayton. Yes, Kira's a doctor, and she's smart AF. According to Kira's LinkedIn, a lot of LinkedIn conversations today. The Philadelphia resident works in internal medicine as an attending physician with the University of Pennsylvania Health System. I work as a senior physician on a treatment team responsible for the care of medically complex patients with life-threatening illnesses. Kira's impressive career began with an equally impressive education, earned her bachelor's degree from Harvard University, her MBA from the Wharton School. I mean, didn't Trump get his degree from the Wharton School? So what does it even really mean? He kind of bought his way in. Of the University of Philadelphia, and her Doctor of Medicine from UNC Chapel Hill. As if that, what does NBD mean? No big deal? Yeah, no big deal. As if that wasn't enough to make you feel like you've underachieved in life, Kira also taught herself how to write hieroglyphics when she was a kid. That's pretty interesting. What the tut? All right. So here's the thread, right? Thoughts on Kira's entrance as a doctor. And again, there's varying sides of this opinion, but I think I like to lean on the side of letting people do what they want in their personal time and that not affecting them. Now, actually, before I share this, I will say this reminded me of this story about a year ago. Do you remember this story? NYC medic helped make ends meet with a racy OnlyFans side gig. And this is, again, just another testament to how horrifying it is out there that somebody couldn't make ends meet as a New York City medic, right, an EMT. But she, of course, I believe was fired from her job after this story came out that she had an OnlyFans account. You should be able to have an OnlyFans account. And legally you can, but also your employer can fire you for different causes. But shouldn't you be protected if you have an OnlyFans account and you also know how to do the Heimlich maneuver? That's not to make light of the Heimlich maneuver. It's just we're multifaceted people living in like in a puritanical society. So she posted this just a few days ago. This being the EMT who was fired. 1 year ago today, a nasty reporter decided to write an article describing a 23-year-old NYC paramedic who moonlights on OnlyFans for extra cash. It was devastating. They included where I worked, how much I made, my height, my weight, and where I lived. I feared for my safety, my job, and my livelihood. So it goes on and on and on. So this shaming that we do of people, this weird sort of voyeuristic world that we live in, where we want to like catch people like, oh, so-and-so's got an OnlyFans. So-and-so, can't you? I mean, honestly, let me know, guys. Call the voicemail. Oops, wrong one. Call the voicemail line right here and let me know. 401-213-9828. Couldn't you be a teacher or a doctor or a fireman? Or heck, couldn't you even be a senator and also have an OnlyFans account? Or can't you be a mayor and also show up in a lab coat and a bikini? Now, the question that people are having here, and I'll read it right now, is this. I'm currently a pediatric resident doctor in training for those not in the medical field, and I have a lot of thoughts on Kira's entrance. I was honestly quite shocked. A few years back, a hashtag started trending, hashtag MedBikini, in response to a misogynistic and awful article that basically said doctors who post bikini pics on social media are unprofessional and should face consequences, or not be surprised if they were not hired or passed up for some fellowship opportunities. Obviously, really stupid. Doctors can post a picture on a beach if they want to. Thankfully, the hashtag took off in a big way, and the overwhelming response, at least with younger doctors, was supportive. To all the old white men in many of the top positions, though, not so much. It is very bold to go on a reality show in any patient-facing job. To show up as a doctor, a position of thousands of hours of education, studying, training, in a position of power too, Larry Nassar being one who famously abused his, night one in underwear, a white coat, and a stethoscope, and here's the important part, and then do sexy doctor role play to get your pretend patient to kiss you. My jaw was on the floor. I just thought it was so inappropriate. Like maybe in private do this, but your patients can see this. The underwear, not so shocking, hashtag MedBikini. The underwear plus the white coat and stethoscope in Dr. Porn script, insanely cringy and off-putting to me. What I'm wondering is, does this come off as borderline inappropriate to anyone else, or am I just so beaten down, brainwashed by society and my medical training, and so afraid of doing anything unprofessional that could muck up my hundreds of thousands of dollars and hours of training, that the thought of even posting a bikini picture gives me pause? Would love to hear from other RNs, MDs, DOs, RTs, what have you, as well as any one of you all not in the medical field. Well, like I said, I'm not in the medical field, okay? Short of Googling WebMD because my insurance sucks if you don't live in the United States. If you ever have to Google with your hand raised as it's bleeding with your left hand, do I need stitches? Your boy needs stitches. All right. Well, so let's read a few of your comments to all of this. Because she has a point to feel a certain way. It's just whether or not she's programmed to feel that way because of this puritanical society. But when you speak of people like Larry Nassar that exist, it makes you wonder, do you write rules and follow a certain moral code because of the atrocities and the atrocious select few that exist out there? While watching the episode, it didn't click for me at all that she's actually a doctor. I completely thought this was just a sexy role play situation. I think if I saw my family doctor on The Bachelor dressed like this, I really wouldn't care. But I imagine that some patients would feel uncomfortable about it. I hadn't seen the MedBikini hashtag before either. I think she should be able to wear what she wants and still maintain her career. That was one of the highest ranked upvotes. I certainly agree that I should be able to wear whatever I want and maintain my career, but I'm not sure if that is the reality. I wonder why I felt so shocked by it. I'm glad you wouldn't care if your family doctor was on TV doing sexy doctor role play. I would hope most patients felt the same. I think as doctors, we're so hyper aware of all the unconscionable awful things doctors have historically done in the past and the pressure to be professional at all times. Yeah, I mean, doctors violating HIPAA rights, the idea that like what you do behind closed doors is like, well, my medical profession, Larry Nassar hid behind this horrifying medical procedure he coined when in fact he was just assaulting people. I'm a med spouse. My husband is a pediatrician. I met him while he was in residency. He and I both were just as shocked as you. And to be completely honest, when she exited the limo, we both immediately raised the question, okay, but is she really a doctor? Upon finding her LinkedIn, we stood very corrected. Not only is she an attending internal med physician, but she attended Harvard undergrad, Wharton in her MBA at University, UNC for medical school. She's a smart cookie. That being said, I think her entrance was bold and something that I would never have the guts to do, especially if I had her background. I would worry too much about having a negative impact on my career, but I guess that would apply to anybody who chooses to go on a show like this. I feel like this is the whole point behind the MedBikini, though, that doctors' medical professions have lives outside of their profession, and those lives shouldn't disqualify their education and expertise in medicine. The whole point is that a woman who is a doctor should be able to go play sexy doctor with a guy she likes on TV without it affecting her career. If she's not doing something unethical, illegal, or super shady, she has the right to be respected in her career, as well as being a sexual being when she's not at work. If a male doctor shows up with a white coat and no shirt and did something similar, I don't think anyone would think poorly of him professionally, Well, this is where I disagree. So here's the disagreement that I think here, because it's not necessarily that she walked out in a bikini. And again, I think she has the right to do that. I beg to differ, says this commenter. If a male doctor showed up and did the sexy doctor role play, I would very much feel very grossed out. It's not the being in underwear, it's the having sex with your doctor while they're supposed to be examining you thing. It's almost like, imagine if she was a police officer and walked out and handcuffed Clayton, and then like did some police officer cosplaying, and then it ended with her strip searching him. It's like, why? Oh, look, we got a new subscriber notification. Shout out Mad Hatter. Cheers for subscribing. Thanks so much. I think we live in a time now where we're hypersensitive to people using their positions of power in ways that can be unethical. So that's the question, and it seems to be the place of debate. With all that said, I think she treaded the line, but leaned on the side of was okay for doing what she did. But I think we need I think one thing we need to remember in society, which it's a very tough time to be critical, is to understand context. She was clearly in a situation where he knew he wasn't being examined by a doctor. You know what I mean? We need to remember context here. He knew he wasn't getting his yearly doctor examination. He knew she was using the common denominator of what she does. And, just like a pilot would talk about, the Mile High Club with Clay, you know what I mean? So with all that said, I think we need to remember context here. And that's what I preach as a comedian. It's like, if a comedian tells a dark joke, you need to remember that just because someone says a joke, it doesn't mean that they think poorly about somebody or that they're disenfranchising somebody. It's simply just a joke. And her as a doctor is simply just a bit. Not that she's not a doctor, but the whole, I'm going to examine you bit. Oh, for sure, some people would be turned off either way, but a male doctor is far less likely to have this choice affect his career, and that's the point. I personally probably wouldn't have done the role play Kira did, but I don't have an issue with it from an ethical standpoint either, although I am not a doctor. And then the person says, Clayton isn't her patient, though, so as long as she doesn't act this way with her actual patients, I don't personally see an issue besides it just being cringy. All right, folks, let me know what you guys think. Call the voicemail line 401-213-9828. I'd love to hear from somebody in the medical field. Would absolutely love to hear from you. And if you haven't already, please follow me on Instagram at DNeals. I've got a whole bunch of reels up that I've been making specifically for the Instagram community. This one's got 45,000 views here. So I've been using my Harry Potter wand to make some Instagram reels. Let me know what you guys think. We'll talk to you in a little bit. Keep it kind in the comments section. Bye, guys.